The black Ford Fusion was driving steadily and calmly down the highway, obeying all traffic laws. Behind the wheel sat a man in a black suit, his expression serious. His name was Alex Carter, an agent of the Federal Bureau of Investigation, returning after a long workday. His thoughts were occupied with a case he had been working on for several months. It seemed to be nearing its conclusion, but he still suspected that some police officers might be involved in a criminal scheme. Suddenly, red and blue lights flashed in the rearview mirror. A police car, accompanied by the sharp sound of a siren, urgently signaled him to pull over. Alex sighed, his brow furrowing slightly in surprise. He hadn't been speeding, and his documents were in order. So, what was the reason? Turning on his blinker, he smoothly slowed down and pulled over to the side of the road. The engine kept running as Alex carefully placed his hands on the steering wheel, as was standard practice among professionals. He disliked surprises, especially those that defied logic. Something about this situation put him on edge. The police officers wasted no time. The doors of the patrol car slammed, and two officers quickly approached his vehicle. One of them, a tall, muscular man with a harsh expression, drew his gun and pointed it directly at Alex. "Get out of the car, now!" the officer shouted. Alex didn't even blink. His training and experience allowed him to remain calm in any situation. "Officer, what is the reason for this stop?" he asked calmly, not moving. "I said get out of the car, hands on the roof." The officer's voice grew more aggressive. The second officer, somewhat younger, also aimed his weapon at the driver, intensifying the tension. "You haven't explained the reason for the stop," Alex repeated, his voice still even, though frustration was growing inside him. The situation was clearly outside standard protocol. "We ask the questions here, not you. Last warning, get out of the car now," the senior officer shouted, stepping closer. Realizing that further defiance could only escalate the situation, Alex sighed slowly and, carefully opening the door, stepped out of the vehicle. The officers immediately kept their weapons trained on him. "Get on the ground, hands behind your head," came the sharp command. Not wanting to risk his life due to someone else's misunderstanding, Alex wordlessly lay down on the cold asphalt. He immediately felt strong hands twist his arms behind his back as someone began searching his pockets. "What do we have here?" one officer muttered in surprise as he pulled out a wallet and opened it. For a moment, there was silence. Under the beam of the flashlight, the FBI badge was clearly visible. The officer's eyes widened. His partner, seeing the document, quickly lowered his gun but said nothing. Alex remained silent. He saw the confusion on the officers' faces. But what was worse? He didn't hear a single word of apology. Following the incident, Alex immediately filed an official complaint. The police department's Internal Affairs Division launched an investigation into the officers' actions, and the media quickly caught wind of the situation. The public demanded accountability. The officers involved refused to admit their mistake, but footage from body cameras and Alex's testimony left them with no defense. The following weeks were tense. Alex met with lawyers and prepared a lawsuit. His attorney emphasized that the officers' actions not only violated protocol, but also could have endangered the agent's life. Meanwhile, an internal investigation was conducted, and with each new leak of information, more and more people became interested in the case. The trial lasted several months. The police officers were represented by experienced lawyers who attempted to justify their actions. They claimed they had received an anonymous tip about a suspicious vehicle and were forced to act decisively. Alex and his legal team argued the opposite. Body camera footage, expert testimony, and a detailed analysis of the situation demonstrated that the officers had overstepped their authority. Particularly impactful were the statements of other officers who declared that such behavior was unacceptable even in high-risk scenarios. After lengthy hearings and heated debates, the court reached a verdict. The senior officer who had ordered Alex to lie on the ground was dismissed from the force and stripped of his right to work in law enforcement. His partner received a disciplinary penalty and was reassigned to administrative duties. The police department was also ordered to compensate Alex for emotional distress. This case sparked widespread discussion in society. The FBI began reviewing procedures for interactions between its agents and local police to prevent similar situations in the future. Additional training programs for law enforcement officers were introduced in several states to curb cases of excessive force. Although Alex won the case, he understood that the problem ran much deeper. His case set a precedent for further changes in the law enforcement system. He continued his work at the FBI, but now with an even greater sense of responsibility.